Right now, two Australians are both 32 years old, both earning $95,000 a year. One just signed for a house, the other just closed the listing tab for good. This isn't about two strangers. This is you. Tuesday night, laptop open, domain.com.au in your browser, doing the maths in your head, and quietly closing the tab. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact break-even number that determines whether buying a home right now makes you richer or quietly wrecks you. I'll drop it in about 4 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Australian house prices haven't just gone up. They've gone somewhere that most Australian incomes can never actually follow. And the gap is accelerating every single quarter. The median house price in Sydney just crossed $1,473,000. And that's CoreLogic Q1 2025. That is not a fancy suburb. That is the city average. A 20% deposit on that, the bare minimum to dodge lenders' mortgage insurance, is $294,600. At $500 a week in savings, that's 11.3 years of perfect discipline starting today. But here's what I'll show you in 60 seconds. The real reason even Australians earning $150,000 are walking away from buying. And it's not the deposit that's stopping them. The RBA cash rate is 4.1% in 2025. On a $1 million mortgage at that rate, your repayment is $4,374 every single month, before the rate moves another inch. The ABS puts median Australian household income at $94,600 a year. After tax, you're taking home around $73,200. That one mortgage repayment alone swallows 60% of your take-home pay. APRA forces banks to stress test every mortgage applicant at 3% above the current rate. That means proving you can service a loan at 7.1%. On $1 million property, most applicants, even solid earners, can't pass it. CoreLogic data shows Sydney dwelling values rose 5.3% in 2024. Australian wages grew 3.9% in the same period. The gap between those two numbers is where the dream dies. Here's the break-even number I promised you. Grattan Institute research shows that in Sydney, you need to stay in a property for at least 9 years just to come out ahead versus renting and investing the difference. 9 years. That changes everything, and I'll explain exactly why it does. The ATO's 2024 data shows 1.3 million negatively geared properties in Australia. Over 1 million landlords are claiming their rental income is a loss, while their tenants are paying the mortgage and getting no equity. iSIC Money Smart estimates the hidden transaction costs of buying a home, stamp duty, conveyancing, inspections, lender's mortgage insurance, council rates, add up to between $50,000 and $75,000 on top of your purchase price. That's money that is completely gone the moment you sign. And here's what nobody's talking about. Grattan Institute modeling shows a 35-year-old who rents and invests their equivalent deposit into index funds could retire with more total wealth than the homeowner. I know, that sounds impossible. Stay with me. CoreLogic confirms national rents have risen 21.4% since 2022. Buying costs have risen 43% in the same period. Both paths are painful right now. You're not imagining it. Here's what nobody tells you. The Australian property dream was built on two conditions: cheap credit and rising real wages. Both of those things are gone now, and nobody in power wants to say it out loud. The part they always leave out, a $1 million mortgage at 4.1% over 30 years costs you $2,150,000 in total repayments. You are not buying a house. You are buying it twice, and giving the second one to the bank. Here's something that will make some people uncomfortable. Negative gearing has systematically transferred generational wealth away from renters and toward investors who already own property. And the people defending it loudest, they own multiple homes. Everyone says renting is throwing money away, but paying interest to a bank for 30 years, that's also throwing money away. Just with a garden and the right to paint the walls. And this is the uncomfortable truth. $150,000 a year in Sydney is not wealthy. After tax, after mortgage repayments, strata, council rates, insurance, and maintenance, your actual disposable income can be less than a renter on $80,000. That's not opinion. Run the numbers yourself. And this is the part that makes most people genuinely uncomfortable. The government is not going to fix housing affordability because the voters who have historically decided Australian federal elections already own the houses. Right, so here's what you can actually do. Step 1, calculate your real break-even horizon before you make any decision. The ASIC Money Smart website has a free rent versus buy calculator. It takes 15 minutes and it will tell you exactly where you stand. The rent versus buy gap in Melbourne right now is stark. CoreLogic Q1 2025 shows the equivalent rental on a median price Melbourne home is $2,140 per month cheaper than the ownership costs on that same property. Here's the number I promised you. If you invest $2,000 a month at 9% per year in a diversified index fund over 20 years, that compounds to $1,347,000. The deposit you didn't lock up? Now it's a retirement. Vanguard's diversified high-growth ETF returned approximately 9.4% per year over the last decade. You can start on CommSec Pocket from $500. That's where a lot of smart Australians are redirecting what was meant to be their deposit. Your superannuation is a lever most people aren't using. The ATO allows up to $27,500 in concessional contributions annually, taxed at 15% instead of your marginal rate. If you're on $95,000, that's a 32% saving on every salary sacrifice dollar. The First Home Super Saver scheme lets eligible first home buyers withdraw up to $50,000 from their super for a deposit. That's the 15% rate you paid going in, not your income tax rate. Most people have no idea this exists. And here's what the people actually building wealth in Australia are doing right now. They're not fighting over Sydney and Melbourne. They're targeting regional markets with rental yields above 5.5%, generating positive cash flow from day one instead of subsidizing a bank for 30 years. RBA research shows regional Southeast Queensland and coastal New South Wales recorded capital growth of 18.2% in 2023, while Sydney sat at 8.1%. The opportunity hasn't disappeared, it just moved. If you do decide to buy, never skip the building and pest inspection. ASIC, Money Smart data shows structural defects cost Australian buyers an average of $32,000 in the first 3 years of ownership. A proper inspection costs $600. That is the easiest maths you will ever do. The 15% savings rate rule on $75,000 take-home pay, that's $11,250 a year going somewhere productive. Half to your emergency buffer, half to index funds, until you hit your target and you've got options. Look, the gap formula is simple. Your take-home pay minus your committed expenses equals your gap. Every dollar in that gap is working for you instead of the bank. And right now, Commonwealth Bank's Net Bank Saver is paying 5.1% on savings balances. Put that gap to work today. And for the big picture, Treasury's 2025 Intergenerational Report flags housing supply as Australia's single largest economic risk. We're building 47,000 fewer dwellings per year than demand requires. Supply won't fix this quickly. You need a plan that works in the world as it is, not as you wish it was. So here are your 3 steps. First one, run your break-even today, right now, on ASIC Money Smart. It's free, it takes 15 minutes. If the number is 9 years or under and you're not planning to move, buying might still be right for you. And you'll know it with actual numbers behind you. Step 2, while you're waiting or deciding, stop leaving your deposit sitting in a basic savings account doing nothing. Find a high-interest savings account above 4.5% or a conservative ETF portfolio. That money should be earning, not sleeping. And step 3, stop measuring your financial success by whether you own property. Some of Australia's wealthiest people are renters. The asset isn't the house, the asset is your net worth. And you can build that entirely without a mortgage if the numbers tell you to. Look, if you're feeling locked out right now, that's not a personal failure. The system was genuinely not built to include you at these price levels. But you're not powerless. And the fact that you're here, running the numbers, asking the hard questions, that already puts you ahead of most people. I want to know where you are right now. Are you actively saving for a deposit? Have you given up on buying entirely? Or are you renting and investing the difference instead? Drop it in the comments, saver, done, or investor, and tell me your city. I read every single one. If this hit different, subscribe. Because every week I break down the real Australian money truths that the people who benefit from your confusion will never say out loud. You deserve to actually know this stuff.